Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. We're doing a little football here at the top of the hour, and The Athletic does a number of things throughout the offseason, but one of the things that they do is on their college football page is take questions via the chat. And apparently there was a question that was sent in the chat that they put on the Audible, their podcast with Stuart Mandel and Bruce Feldman, about KJ Jefferson at Arkansas and what tier he might belong to in terms of college football quarterbacks entering the next season. And I thought it was interesting that they then took it and then actually created a tier list of college football quarterbacks. And I'm working towards Jayden Daniels here, but humor me as I get there. In tier one, they only have one player. Caleb Williams, to Stuart Mandel and Bruce Feldman, is in a class by himself in college football entering this season. And I get that. Got some hardware. Makes sense. They said he produced nearly 5,000 yards of offense, 42 touchdowns, just 5 picks last year. Stuart Mandel says, I put him among the elite of the elite to come through college recently. Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, etc. So that's tier one. Tier two, they've got Drake May and Michael Penix Jr. Drake May is thought of so highly among draft experts, and we understand that there may have been some phone calls from Tuscaloosa headed in his direction to see if he had any interest, and he's kind of UNC royalty, and he decided he was going to stay at North Carolina. Michael Penix obviously started his career in the Big Ten and has headed over to Washington, and last year in Kalen DeBoer's first season, he basically catapulted Washington from 4-8 to 11-2. He's got a huge arm. He puts up tons of stats. Okay, I get those two guys who are probably going to be first-round picks in next year's draft. And then in tier three is where they get to KJ Jefferson, but they also lump Jayden Daniels in here. And you lump in Jayden Daniels with Frank Harris of UTSA. I'm not going to tell you I've ever heard of that person. With Grayson McCall. Okay, gotcha there. J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. Bo Nix at Oregon, who had a great year last year. I think a lot of us down here would say, oh, Bo Nix, that guy was kind of mediocre at Auburn, but he was much better at Oregon last year. Michael Pratt at Tulane and Devin Leary of Kentucky. And, you know, to me, when I look at Jayden Daniels coming in tier three, I don't remember a time where LSU had a quarterback entering into the season that anyone would have put in the top 7 or 8 in college football. Can you remember that? Certainly Burrow got there. We gotcha. But after that first year, was anybody in a hurry to put him in the top 7 quarterbacks in the country? No. But basically everyone does that now. You look at Stuart Mandel talking about Daniels, said he's arguably not on the same level yet as a pure passer, but he also ran for 885 yards last year and can scramble and extend plays. We know that. That's not anything breaking news worthy. But the point of this discussion is to say that Jayden Daniels is thought of as a top 10 quarterback in college football. And I don't know that we can recall a time where LSU had that entering a season. I thought about maybe Jamarcus Russell, so I went and looked at the stats. And his sophomore year, 2005, he completed 60% of his throws for 2,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Now, the talent's unbelievable. Like, he could throw it a mile, but it really, at that point, you know, he wasn't a star in college football at all. Burrow wasn't, Flynn wasn't, Mettenberger's last year was great, but his year before that wasn't all that great. This is about as good a season that an LSU quarterback has come off of that I can remember. Hodson? Booty? Herb Tyler? So this, to me, maybe in my life, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If you're in the Bayou Ford chat and you could think of a glaring example that I'm just whiffing on here, maybe in my life, this is the first time that I could preseason sit here and talk about LSU's quarterback winning the Heisman Trophy, and it's not just fantasy land. I know, they just won one. 4 years ago. I saw it. Preseason, if you'd have said, I think Burrow might win the Heisman, that sounds pretty stupid. He was pretty good in this, the overtime game against A&M, and yeah, nice job after you got decked in the Fiesta Bowl, but Heisman, come on. But, Jayden Daniels could win the Heisman. He's going to have to play great, and LSU's going to have to win a lot of games, and there are some really good players that'll be in competition for it. But, am I out of line here? Because this is not the first time we've done this exercise with the tier list of college football quarterbacks entering the season. And at no point is Jayden Daniels not in the first 8 or 9 names you mentioned. I know that LSU fans will sit here and they'll say, well, he waits too long in the pocket. He's indecisive. He doesn't take shots down the field. He runs too much. And some of that is true in instances. But the fact of the matter is that he put up a ton of numbers last year. He's as athletic as any quarterback in college football. And oh, by the way, this team should be pretty good. Those are all ingredients to win the Heisman. Would I bet 100 of my dollars that Jayden Daniels is going to win the Heisman Trophy? Probably not. Not a big gambler. But I don't think it's lighting money on fire. And that's a cool feeling around here. Because, as I always mention, the hopeometer always reaches its apex at the end of August. But sometimes it's a little bit delusional. Because you're baked in here and you're in Baton Rouge and you want the best for LSU and you've gotten all these positive reports from going out to practice and it's just your purple and gold taking over because nothing negative has happened with your football team in 9-10 months. But this is not purple and gold fantasy land. This is 2 national writers for The Athletic. This is national writers for ESPN. These are non-LSU Tigers that work for the SEC Network that are saying, the Daniels guy's really good, and I kind of like this LSU team. Who's Bama's quarterback? LSU might win the league. That's not purple and gold fantasy land right here around this studio. That's people who cover this thing on a national basis that are just looking at what they've saw, looking at what they've seen, looking at the numbers and saying, hey, this guy could be it. And Bo Nix got some Heisman love late last year. J.J. McCarthy got some Heisman love late last year. And you're lumping them in with that. You're putting them right behind Drake May and Michael Penix and another notch behind Caleb Williams, who did win the award. It's a different feeling, and I can't think of another time in my life that you could say, I think LSU's quarterback might win the Heisman Trophy, and you're not just blowing smoke. Sounds good to me. I hope he does win the Heisman Trophy. That would be really fun. Make for a good fall here. It's going to be a fun summer and a good fall camp, and then they'll get to work, and he's got some work to do in the first game of the season. The interesting thing that I came about here in this tier list is that Jordan Travis is not next to Jayden Daniels in tier 3. They bump him down to tier 4 with Cam Rising and Dylan Gabriel and Talia Tagovailoa. And that shocked me because I always think of, in terms of college prospects, that Jordan Travis would be up higher than that. Maybe not for the NFL. Doesn't have a huge arm. He's not big. But for college. And, well, Mandel says, Travis turns in no shortage of highlight plays, but I'd like to see him perform a little bit better in big games. He struggled against Clemson and Florida last year. And I said, he did? I didn't remember that. So I went back and looked. And against Florida, Jordan Travis was 13 of 30 for 270 yards, a touchdown, no picks. So not super awesome. Against Clemson, 24 of 42. That's 57%. 2 touchdowns, no picks. I didn't think that was some sort of awful performance. Now, I can't say I sat there and watched every play of it. But, that's a tick down from what I've seen on the Jordan Travis radar. But people think highly of Jayden Daniels. That's a good thing around here in Baton Rouge. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.